Mataji joined. Yeah, Mataji
Yeah.
joined. Let her come.
Hare Krishna. Sorry for
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
this. Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
So we are
So we completed the invocation prayers. Now, waiting for you to start, give a recap, and then read verse number 13.
right. Okay. Sure, Prabhu. Thank you. Let me share the screen. Yeah. So we are at verse number 13, right, today? So
Yeah,
going
we have
back
to.
to all the other verses in sequence. So Arjuna's first 6 questions. In the verse 1, followed by Krishna's description of Kshetra, Kshetrajna, and Jnanam, verses 2 to 7. And then he describes Jnanam, the process of acquiring knowledge. We went through that big purport, 8 to 12 verses, where all the items for knowledge are described. Krishna describes that. After that, is going to describe the object of knowledge. What is the object of knowledge? Gayam, 13 to 19. And then Prakriti Purusha and their union. And last section will come to that. So, yeah, let's go through that verses then. Do we need to share the screen or we can read out of books? Everyone has a book, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Online book. Yeah.
Who wants to read today first?
I can go first.
Sure. Please.
Okay. Text 13. Geyam yat tat pravakshami yaj gyan gyanat sorry what's that yagyan va vamritam ashnute anadi matparam brahma brahma na sattan nashad uchyate. Gayam, the knowable,
Knowable.
yet knowable, yet which, tat that, pravakshami, I shall now explain, yet which, jnanatva, knowing, amritam, nectar, ashnute, one tastes, anadi, beginless, matparam, subordinate to me, brahma, spirit, na, neither, sat, cause, tat, that, na, nor, asat, effect, uchyate, is said to be. I shall now explain the knowable, knowing which you will taste the knowing which you will taste the eternal. Brahman, the spirit, beginless and subordinate to me, lies beyond the cause and the effect of this material world. Perfect by Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. The Lord has explained the field of activities and the knower of the field. He has also explained the process of knowing the knower of the field of activities. Now he begins to explain the knowable, first the soul and then the supersoul. By knowledge of knower, both the soul and the supersoul, one can relish the nectar of life. As explained in the second chapter, the living entity is eternal. This is also confirmed here. There is no specific date at which the Jiva was born, nor can anyone trace out the history of the Jivatma's manifestation from the Supreme Lord. Therefore, it is beginningless. The Vedic literature confirms this. Najayate mriyate va vipaschit vipaschit. Katha Upanishad 1.2.18. The knower of the body is never born and never dies, and he is full of knowledge. The Supreme Lord, as the Supersoul, is also stated in the Vedic literature. Shvete, Shvetashvat Tara Upanishad. 6.16 To be Pradhana Kshetrajna Patir Guneshah, the chief knower of the body and the master of the three modes of material nature. In the Smriti, it is said, Dasabhuto Harer Eva Nanyas Vaiva Kadachana. The living entities are eternal in the service of the Supreme Lord. This is also confirmed by Lord Chaitanya in his teachings. Therefore, the description of Brahman mentioned in this verse is in relation to the individual soul. And when the word Brahman is applied to the living entity, it is to be understood that he is Vig, Vig, Vignana Brahma as opposed to Ananda Brahma. Ananda Brahma is the supreme Brahman personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna.
Right. So in this verse, Krishna is speaking about the Gayam. Gayam means the object of knowledge. What are the objects of knowledge? The objects of knowledge are nothing but the knowable. The Krishna says as knowable. Knowable is the object, one that can be known by everyone. So those things are the Jivatma itself as well as the Paramatma. Paramatma is the super soul in all living entities and Jivatma. So these are the objects that need to be known by the living entities. So the Gayam is object of knowledge are two. One is the Jivatma and the other is the Paramatma. Now, Jivatma's soul, the origin of Jivatma is spoken about in this verse. It is beginningless. And Krishna speaks about the soul's characteristics in the chapter 2, that it is neither takes birth, neither it can die. Then it cannot be slain by any weapon, water, fire, air, or anything like that. And then it is beginningless. It always exists. And Krishna also speaks about his energies, right? In the so the jiva is the amsha in beginning chapters is spoken about that the living entity is the part and parcel of Krishna. So there is no soul birth to the soul. It is always existing. So that's something that we can understand from this. As in the second chapter, Krishna has already spoken that there is no specific date when the jiva was born. It's always existing. And Prabhupada is quoting various other literatures with Asvatara Upanishad to be Pradhana Kshetrajna. The Supreme Lord is a super soul. Is a Pradhana Kshetrajna Patir Gunesha, the chief knower of the body, the master of the three modes of material nature. And various other like Smriti, it is said, Dasha Bhuto Harer Eva Nanu Ya Shaiva Kadachana. The living entities are eternally in the service of the Supreme Lord. This is also confirmed by Lord Chaitanya. That is, we are the servant of the servant of the servant of the Lord, of the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna, who is the maintainer of the gopis. This is what Lord Chaitanya has said. Gopi Bhartur Padakamalaya. Prabhupada is quoting, but not quoting the verse, which is Gopi Bhartu Padakamalayur Das Das Dasanudas. Where the all the living entities are the servants of the servants of the servants of Lord Shri Krishna, who is the maintainer of the gopis. And therefore, the description of Brahman in this verse is in relation to the individual soul. And when the word Brahman is applied, it is also said to be in the Vijnana Brahma as opposed to Ananda Brahma. So, the word Brahman depends on the context in which it is spoken. Brahman, so Brahma, when you say Brahman, it can be the living entity, the Jivatma. It can be Paramatma also, depending on the context. But in this place, Prabhupada is explicitly saying that it is Vijnana Brahma. That means that can be known versus Ananda Brahma. Ananda Brahma is the super soul, right? That is Supreme Brahman. So depending on the context, Brahman can be individual living entity. It can be the Supreme Lord. It can be Brahma also. At times, it depends on the context. So in this context, when it said, I shall now explain the knowable, knowing which you will taste the eternal. Brahman, the spirit, beginningless and subordinate to me, lies beyond the cause and effect of this material world. So, what does it mean by beyond cause and effect? That which goes through cause and effect in the material world is the body, which goes through cause and effect. There is a cause for the body and then there will be an effect. Like So it goes through the changes. So that which beyond the cause and effect is which beyond the body. The Brahman here is the spirit, beginningless and subordinate to me, lies, but it is definitely above the body. It is not the body. It is lies beyond the cause and effect of the material world. The byproduct of the cause and effect of this material world is the body, the material body. The Brahman is beyond that, and above that is a super soul. That is what this verse is. We'll move to the next verse. Bharati Mataji, please read the next verse.
Yeah, Mataji. Verse 14. Sar सर्वतः पाणिपादं तत् सर्वतोक्षिशिरोमुखं सर्वथा श्रुतिमल्लोके सर्वम् आवृत्य तिष्ठति. Synonyms: sarvata, everywhere; pani, hands; padam, legs; tat, that; sarvata, everywhere; aksi, eyes; sira, heads; mukam, faces; sarvata, everywhere; shruti mat, having ears; loke, in the world; sarvam, everything; aftya, covering; tishtati, exists. Translation: everywhere are his hands and legs, his eyes, heads, and faces, and he has ears everywhere. In this way, the super soul exists, pervading everything. Purport. As the sun exists, diffusing its unlimited rays, so does the super soul or supreme personality of Godhead. He exists in all pervading form, and in him exists all the individual living entities, beginning from the first great teacher Brahma down to the small ants. There are unlimited heads, legs, hands, and eyes, and unlimited living entities. All the existing in and on the all are existing in and on the super soul. Therefore, the super soul is all pervading. The individual soul, however, cannot say that he has hands, legs, and eyes everywhere. That is not possible. If he thinks that under ignorance he is not conscious that his hands and legs are diffused all over, but when he attains to proper knowledge, he will come to that stage. His thinking is contradictory. This means that the individual soul, having become conditioned by material nature, is not supreme. The supreme is different from the individual soul. The supreme Lord can extend his hand without limit. The individual soul cannot. In Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that if anyone offers him a flower, fruit, or water, or a little water, he accepts it. If the Lord is far distance away, how can he accept things? This is the omnipotence of the Lord. Even though he is situated in his own abode, far and far away from the earth, he can extend his hand to accept what anyone offers. That is his potency. In Brahma Samhita 5.37, it is stated, Goloka eva nivasati akilatma bhutaha. Although he is always engaged in pastimes in his transcendental planet, he is all pervading. The individual soul cannot claim that he is all pervading. Therefore, this verse describes the supreme soul, the personality of Godhead, not the individual soul. Hare Krishna.
So he started to explain the Gayam, right? Gayam comprises of the Jivatma and Paramatma. So the earlier verse talked about the Jivatma, which is the spirit, Brahman. Now this verse talks about the Supreme Brahman. That is why he has his hands and legs everywhere. We have seen in the 11th chapter also where Krishna's that universal form is depicted with having its entire manifestation of the entire universe comprising of various hands, legs, and that is the Supreme Brahman. So in it says everywhere there is hands, legs, his eyes, heads, faces, and his eyes everywhere. In this way, the super soul exists, pervading everything. So he is pervading, all pervading, and Brahma Samhita quotes verses pertaining to that, that he can see with his eyes, he can eat, like what is that verse where it says that we offer food to Krishna, then he eats with his eyes. That is Anganiyasya Sakalendriya Vittimanti. We sing that at a center also. When the curtains are opened, we sing that particular verse. Angani yasya sakalendriya vrittimanti pashyanti panti kalayanti chiram jaganti Govinda Madi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. That means Krishna can see with his eyes for sure, but he can also see with he can eat with his hands, he can eat with his legs, he can eat with his eyes. Just by looking at it, he can accept the remnants, the foodstuffs that we offer him. And also another verse that Prabhupada is quoting is Goloka eva nimashat akilatma bhuta. He resides always in Goloka, yet he is all pervading and he can accept wherever we are offering. He comes wherever we offer, wherever in a house, in the temple, even in our heart we can offer and we can accept it. So that is where it is said he is all pervading, that particular this verse. So Prabhupada is making distinction that 13th verse was about the super soul, supreme, the Brahman, the spirit soul, and the 14th verse is about the supreme Brahman. And from here onwards, 14 to 18, it talks about the qualities of the super soul. We will continue in the same theme. 14 to 18, it talks about the qualities of the super soul. Okay. Now he's spoken about the hands, legs, face, heads, ears, all pervading nature. Is a source of all senses, is devoid of material senses, like that, right? He'll continue to explain the various other features or the qualities. Okay. Now can you read the 15th verse?
सर्वेन्द्रिय गुणाभासं सर्वेन्द्रिय विवर्जितम् असक्तं सर्वभृच्चैव निर्गुणं गुणभोक्तृ च. Sarva of all indriya senses, guna of the qualities, abhasam the original source, sarva all indriya senses, vivarjitam being without, asaktam without attachment, sarvabhrit the maintainer of everyone, cha also eva certainly, nirgunam without material qualities, guna bhoktri master of the gunas, cha also. The supersoul is the original source of all senses, yet he is without senses. He is unattached, although he is the maintainer of all living beings. He transcends the modes of nature, and at the same time, he is the master of all the modes of material nature. Purport: the Supreme Lord, although the source of all the senses of the living entities, doesn't have material senses like they have. Actually, the individual soul has spiritual senses, but in the conditional life, they are covered with material elements, and therefore sense activities are exhibited through matter. The Supreme Lord's senses are not so covered. His senses are transcendental and therefore called nirguna. Guna means the material modes, but his senses are without material covering. It should be understood that his senses are not exactly like ours. Although he is the source of all our sensory activities, he has his transcendental senses, which are uncontaminated. This is very nicely explained in Shweta Upanishad 3.19. In the verse Apani Pado Javano Grahita. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has no hands, which are materially contaminated, but he has his hands and accepts whatever sacrifice is offered to him. This is the distinction between the conditioned soul and the super soul. He has no material eyes, but he has eyes. Otherwise, how could he see? He sees everything, past, present, and future. He lives within the heart of the living being, and he knows what we have done in the past, what we are doing now, and what is awaiting us in the future. This is also confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. He knows everything, but no one knows him. It is said that the Supreme Lord has no legs like us, but he can travel throughout space without he has spiritual legs, because he has spiritual legs. In other words, the Lord is not impersonal. He has his eyes, legs, hands, and everything else. And because we are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, we also have these things, but his hands, legs, eyes, and senses are not contaminated by the material nature. Bhagavad Gita also confirms that when the Lord appears, he appears as he is by his internal potency. He is not contaminated by the material energy because he is the Lord of material energy. In the Vedic literature, we find that his whole embodiment is spiritual. He has his eternal form called Sachidananda Vigraha. He is full of all appearances. He is the proprietor of all wealth and owner of all energy. He is the most intelligent and full of knowledge. There are some of the symptoms. These are some of the symptoms of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the maintainer of all living entities and witness of all activities. As far as we can understand from Vedic literature, the Supreme Lord is always transcendental. Although we do not see his head, face, hands, or legs, he has them. And when we are elevated to the transcendental situation, we can see the Lord's form. Due to materially contaminated senses, we cannot see his form. Therefore, the impersonalists who are still materially affected cannot understand the personality of Godhead.
Prabhupada is clarifying many points pertaining to the impersonalists, pertaining to the Supreme Lord. The verse itself talks about, I shall now explain the knowable, knowing which you will taste the eternal. Sorry, error. Sorry, sir. 15, right? The super soul is the original source of all senses, yet he is without senses. He is unattached, although he is the maintainer of all living beings. He transcends the modes of nature, and at the same time, he is the master of the modes. So there are the seeming contradictions, right? These are the seeming contradictions. It's said that Krishna doesn't have any, the original, the supreme soul does not have any senses, yet he is the master of all senses. He does not, he has no attachments, yet he is the maintainer. He transcends the mode, but at the same time is the master of the modes. So this looks like seemingly contradictions, whereas they are not, because this is the absolute nature of the Lord. When it is said there are no senses, he doesn't have a material senses. That is why he's called as nirguna. Nir means no. Guna is the modes. So the senses that are made of modes, he doesn't possess them. He possesses transcendental senses, which are like beyond the modes that we can perceive of. So from our perspective, that is why he is called as nirguna. But whereas his senses are beyond. And then he is the maintainer of all living entities. Yet he is so unattached with everything. Right? He can be so unattached, at the same time is the maintainer. Is the origin, is the maintainer. And he's the master of the modes. So modes are beyond him. Modes are under him. Sorry. He's beyond the modes. Modes are under him. He created the modes. How can the modes affect him? Right? So he transcends the modes of nature, at the same time is the master of the modes of material nature. And Prabhupada quotes various verses and is also trying to clarify the impersonalist understanding. They say that the Lord doesn't have eyes, ears, and like contaminated ones, he doesn't definitely have. So that because we are contaminated, the material body is contaminated, so we only perceive through our contaminated senses, and Lord does not possess them. So impersonalists think that Lord doesn't have anything of, like he doesn't have senses, and whereas his body is Satchidananda Vigraha. It's comprising of full knowledge, full bliss, and full eternality. Satchit and Ananda. So that's what. So these are some of the other qualities of the Lord. It is devoid of the senses, is devoid of all material senses, is unattached, is a maintainer, and is the master of the modes that transcends them. So these are the other additional qualities that are described in the 15th. Now moving to the 16th. Bahirantascha bhutanam acharam charam evacha sukshmatvat tad abhigneyam durastam chantike chatat. Bahi, outside, anta, inside, cha, also, bhutanam, of all living entities, acharam, not moving, charam, moving, evat, also, cha, and sukshmatvat, on account of being subtle, tat, that, abhigneyam, unknowable, durastam, far away, cha, also, antike, near, cha, and tat, that. The Supreme Truth exists outside and inside of all living beings, the moving and the non-moving. Because he is subtle, he is beyond the power of the material senses to see or to know. Although far, far away, he is also near to all. Purport. In Vedic literature, we understand that Narayana, the Supreme Person, is residing both outside and inside of every living entity. He is present in both the spiritual and material worlds. Although he is far, far away, he is still near to us. These are the statements of Vedic literature. Asino duram vrajati shayano yati sarvataha. Katha Upanishad 1.2.21. And because he is always engaged in transcendental bliss, we cannot understand how he is enjoying his full opulence. We cannot see or understand with these material senses. Therefore, in the Vedic language, it is said that to understand him, our material mind and senses cannot act. But one who has purified his mind and senses by practicing Krishna consciousness in devotional service can see him constantly. It is confirmed in Brahma Samhita that devotee who has developed love for the Supreme Lord can see him always without cessation. And it is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 11.54 that he can be seen and understood only by devotional service. Bhaktya tu ananyaya shakyaha. So, coming back to the verse, which is he is inside and he is outside. He is moving and non-moving. Inside and outside of all the moving and non-moving beings. Because he's subtle. He's so subtle that he can exist inside as a super soul as well as outside as all pervading Supreme Brahman. He is beyond the power of material senses to see or to know. We cannot see him unless our senses are purified. Our senses are so contaminated that we cannot see him with these blunt senses. That's why we have to purify our senses by the starting with eyes. We can purify by the ointment of love. That's what Brahma Samhita words. Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena. Santas sadaiva hridayeshu vilokayanti. Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajan. If we can anoint our eyes with the ointment of love, we can see the Lord. With our material senses, we cannot see. So this is although far away, is also very near to us. Is residing right in our hearts as a super soul. Although is all pervading and existing far beyond in the Goloka. So those are the seemingly contradictions, but these are his qualities. You can understand that. No one can be like him. We cannot be all pervading and at the same time be present in one body. It is not possible for us. But these are his qualities. Okay, we'll move to 17. Premata Mataji, are you in a position to read? Looks like not. Same.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Hare Krishna. Next one I will read, Mataji.
Next one? Okay. Yeah. Sneha Mataji, please continue.
Text 17. 17, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Avibhaktam cha bhuteshu vibhaktam eva cha sthitam bhuta bhratra cha taj neyam grasisnu prabhavishnu cha avibhaktam without division cha also bhuteshu in all living beings vibhaktam divided eva as if cha also sthitam situated bhuta bhatra the maintainer of all living entities cha also tat that Gayam to be understood, Grashishnu devouring, Prabha Vishnu developing cha also. Although the super soul appears to be divided among all beings, he is never divided. He is situated as one. Although he is the maintainer of every living entity, it is to be understood that he devours and develops all. Purport by Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. The Lord is situated in everyone's heart as the super soul. Does this mean that he has become divided? No. Actually, he is one. The example is given of the sun. The sun at the meridian is situated in its place. But if one goes for 5,000 miles in all directions, and asks, "Where is the sun?" everyone will say that it is shining on his head. In the Vedic literature, this example is given to show that although he is undivided, he is situated as if divided. Also, it is said in Vedic literature that one Vishnu is present everywhere by his omnipotence, just as the sun appears in many places to many persons. And the Supreme Person, although the maintainer of every living entity, devours everything at the time of annihilation. This was confirmed in the 11th chapter when the Lord said that he had come to devour all the warriors assembled at Kurukshetra. He also mentioned that in the form of time, he devours also. He is the annihilator, the killer of all. When there is creation, he develops all from their original state, and at the time of annihilation, he devours them. The Vedic hymns confirm the fact that he is the origin of all living entities and the rest of all. After creation, everything rests in his omnipotence, and after annihilation, everything again returns to rest in him. These are the confirmations of Vedic hymns. Yato va imani bhutani jayante yena jatani jivanti yat प्रयन्ति अभिसं विशन्ति तद् ब्रह्म तद् विजिज्ञा विजिज्ञानस्व तैत्तिरीय उपनिषद 3.1 Hare Krishna.
So he is the super soul present in all living entities. Looks like he appears to be divided, right? Because he is divided into so many living entities. Yet he is undivided. He is never divided. He is situated as one. And although he is maintainer of all living entities, it is to be understood that he devours and develops all. He is a maintainer. He is a destroyer. He is a creator. Right? He exists before the creation, and he creates the living entities, and he also causes the living entities to be annihilated at the end of the universal time. So that is what we can understand from this verse. He is and also Prabhupada is talking about the various instances where Krishna spoke about, and the example of the sun is given to understand the analogy, how sun exists everywhere throughout, and yet it appears it is right on the top of each of our head. Just like that, if sun, which is a material thing in this universe, can appear like that, something, how can the Supreme Lord, who is the cause of all causes, can appear to be in all parts of all living entities, and yet at the same time is undivided? That is the sun analogy. And regarding that he is the maintainer, he is the destroyer and the developer of all living entities, Krishna gives in examples from the 11th chapter. 11th chapter, Krishna spoke that I have come here to kill all these Pandavas. So you just become my instrument and do the war and get become my instrument. And also he talks about saying himself as the time I am, Kalosmi. He says, I've come here to devour. So in that way, he's an annihilator as a time. All living entities will be destroyed over a course of time. So time is the greatest, can be spoken in various ways. Time is it can be healer, it can be a destroyer, it can be annihilator. So time is that potency, and Krishna is time. He says, Kalosmi, I am time, I am. So that is this verse. So again, the various qualities of Krishna are, he is divided yet undivided. He is the maintainer and his maintainer is also a devourer and developer of all living entities. Those are the various other qualities. The last verse in this particular sequence, which is describing the qualities of the Paramatma, Priyamada Mataji, 18th verse.
Yes, Mataji, Hare Krishna. ज्योतिषम् अपि तज्ज्योतिस् तमसा परम उच्यते ज्ञानं ज्ञेयं ज्ञानज्ञं हृदये सर्वस्य विशिष्टितम्. Synonymous, Jyotisam in all luminous subjects, api also that Jyotihi, the source of light, tamasa, the darkness, param, beyond, uchate is said, jnana, knowledge, gayam, to be known, jnana, gamyam, to be approached by knowledge, hriday, in the heart, sarvasya, of everyone, vishishtitam, situated. Translation: he is a source of light in all luminous subject. He is beyond the darkness of matter and is unmanifested. He is knowledge. He is object of knowledge and he is the goal of knowledge. He is situated in everyone's heart. But the super soul, the supreme personality of Godhead, is a source of light in all enormous objects like the sun, moon, and stars. In the Vedic literature, we find that in the spiritual kingdom, there is no need of sun or moon because the effulgence of Sun, Supreme Lord is there. In the material world, that Brahma Jyotir, the Lord's spiritual effulgence, is covered by the Mahat Tattva, the material elements. Therefore, in the material world, we require the assistance of sun, moon, electricity, etc. for light. But in the spiritual world, there is no need of such things. It is clearly stated in the Vedic literature that because of his luminous effulgence, everything is illuminated. It is clear, therefore, that his situation is not in the material world. He is situated in the spiritual world, which is far, far away in the spiritual sky. That is also confirmed in the Vedic literature. Adya, Adita Varnam Tamasa Parastat Svitasvatra Upanishada 3.8. He is just like the sun, eternally luminous, but he is far, far beyond the darkness of this material world. His knowledge is transcendental. The Vedic literature confirms that Brahman is concentrated transcendental knowledge. To one who is anxious to be transformed to that spiritual world, knowledge is given by the Supreme Lord, who is situated in everyone's heart. One Vedic mantra, Svetasvatra Upanishada, 6.18 says, Tamha Devam Atma Buddhi Prakasam Mumuksur Ve Sharanam Aham Prapadyate. One must surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead if he at all wants liberation. As far as the goal of the ultimate knowledge is concerned, it is also confirmed in the Vedic literature, Tam eva vidyavati martyum eti. Only by knowing him can one surpass the boundary of birth and death. Svetasvatatra Upanishad 3.8. He is situated in everyone's heart as a supreme controller. The supreme has legs and has hands distributed everywhere. And this cannot be said of the individual soul. Therefore, that there are two knower of the field of the activity, the individual soul and the super soul, must be admitted. One's hand legs are distributed locally, but Krishna's hands and legs are distributed everywhere. This is confirmed in the Svetasvatra Upanishad 3.17. Sarvasya Prabhum Ishanam Sarvasya Sharanam Brahat. That Supreme Personality of Godhead, Super Soul, is the Prabhu or master of all living entities. Therefore, he is the ultimate shelter of all living entities. So there is no denying that fact that the Supreme Super Soul and the individual soul are always different. Haripur.
Hare Krishna. So the verse talks about is the source of the light of all luminous objects, is beyond the darkness of matter and is unmanifested. He is knowledge, he is the object of knowledge, he is the goal of knowledge. He is situated in everyone's heart. So these are the qualities that are described. So how he is the source of light of all luminous objects? In the 10th chapter, he speaks that he is the sun, luminous, among all the luminous. So he is the source of light in all luminous objects like sun, moon, and stars. And in the Vedic literature itself, there is no description of sun or moon. In fact, in the Bhagavad Gita itself, Krishna speaks in the 15th chapter. He says, there is no sun, there is yad aditya gatam tejo jagat bhasayate akhilam, yad chandramasi yad chakno tat tejo viddimamakam. It is 15:12, where it says, the splendor of the sun which dissipates the darkness of this whole world comes from me, and the splendor of the moon and the splendor of fire are also from me. So Krishna is the source of the sun, the moon, as well as the stars. So he is that illuminating object. And he is beyond the matter, darkness of matter, and is unmanifested. He is a darkness, beyond the darkness of matter, because he is not matter, right? So he is beyond the matter. Matter is dark. There's no matter, means it's dead. So he is beyond that. And his knowledge is the object of knowledge, that is Gayam. We are in that section, is something that need to be known, is the knowable. He is the object of knowledge and is the goal of the, he is the Gatir. Gatir, we'll say, goal means Gati. So he's the Gati also, he is the source also, is the object also. Is a goal as well as object of knowledge, and is situated also in everyone's heart. Various Shastra, the references Prabhupada gave here is Svetasvatara Upanishadam, and yeah, mostly from Svetasvatara Upanishad, where he has mentioned about different how he is, different Upanishads also describe that what he's seeing in this verse. So, any points to be added by anyone?
No, Mataji, you covered all the points actually.
Huh?
You covered all the points. There is nothing left.
So 18, that is the section. The 14 to 18 is where it talks about the qualities of the Supreme Lord. Now moving to the next section, which is within the subsection. It is another different theme that's coming up. Bharati Mataji, please by 19.
Verse 19. Iti kshetram tata jnanam neyam choktam samasta sata madbhakta etat vignaya madbhavayopapadyate. Synonyms. Iti, thus, kshetram, the field of activities, the body, tata, also, jnanam, knowledge, jnayam, the knowable, cha, also, uktam, described, samashata, in summary, mat bhakta, my devotee, etat, all this, vinyaya, after understanding, mat bhavaya, to my nature, upadyate, attains. Translation. Thus, the field of activities, the body, knowledge, and the noble have been summarily described by me. Only my devotees can understand this thoroughly and thus attain my nature. Purport. The Lord has described in summary the body, knowledge, and the knowable. This knowledge is of three things: the knower, the knowable, and the process of knowing. Combined, these are the vijnana, or the science of knowledge. Perfect knowledge can be understood by unalloyed devotees of the Lord directly. Others are unable to understand. The monists say that at the ultimate stage, these three items become one, but the devotees do not accept this. Knowledge and development of knowledge mean understanding oneself in Krishna consciousness. We are being led by the material consciousness, but as soon as we transfer all the consciousness to Krishna's activities and realize that Krishna is everything, then we attain real knowledge. In the other words, knowledge is nothing but the preliminary stage of understanding devotional service perfectly. In the 15th chapter, this will be very clearly explained. Now, to summarize, one may understand that verse 6 and 7, beginning from Mahabhutani and continuing through Chetana, Dhritih, and analyze the material elements and certain manifestations of the symptoms of life. These combine to form the body or the field of activities. And verse 8 through 12, from Amanitvam through Tattva Jnanartha Darshanam, describe the process of knowledge for understanding both types of knower of the field of activities, namely the soul and the supersoul. Then the verse 13 through 18, beginning from Anadi Mat Param and continuing through Hridi Sarvasya Vishtitam, describe the soul and the Supreme Lord or the Supersoul. Thus, three items have been described: the field of activity, the body, the process of understanding, and both the soul and the supersoul. It is especially described here that only the unalloyed devotees of the Lord can understand these three items clearly. So, for these devotees, Bhagavad Gita is fully useful. It is they who can attain the supreme goal, the nature of the Supreme Lord Krishna. In other words, only devotees and not others can understand Bhagavad Gita and derive the desired result. Hare Krishna.
So it is summarized. Krishna is summarizing what he has described so far. In the 13th to 18th verses, it was spoken about the Gayam, right? The object of the knowledge. Now, this particular verse, now he is saying, thus I have described the activities. So, what are the 6 questions that Arjuna asked at the beginning in this chapter? What is Kshetra, Kshetrajna? First, Prakriti, Purusha, Kshetra, Kshetrajna, Jnanam, and Gayam. Prakriti is material nature. Purusha is the enjoyer. Kshetra is the field of activity, which is the body. Kshetrajna is the knower of the field of activity, which is the knower of the body, which is two people, two are there in that, which is Jivatma and Paramatma. And then Jnanam is knowledge. Jnayam is object of knowledge. So Jnanam we understood from that big verse 8 to 12. That is like objects of knowledge. Is explained objects of knowledge in 8 to 12. And then 13 to 18 is Jnayam, knower of the objects. So the objects of the knowledge. So he explained knowledge in 8 to 12. 13 to 18 is explained the objects of knowledge. Sorry. Yeah, object of knowledge, which is the knower of the knowledge, which is the Lord and the Jivatma. And in the beginning itself, he explained about 2 things. What did he explain? Kshetra and Kshetrajna. Kshetra is the living entity. Kshetrajna is the, Kshetra is the body. Kshetrajna are again 2, which is the Jivatma and the Paramatma. Right? This is a summary so far for the entire 19 verses. So in the 19 verses, he answered how many questions? Kshetra, Kshetrajna, Jnanam, and Jnayam. Correct? 4 items, 6 out of 4 questions, 4 out of 6 questions, he answered up to 19. Now he's going to speak about the Prakriti and Purusha. Even though that was the first 2 questions raised by Arjuna, he's answering from 20. What is Prakriti? What is Purusha? Okay. Prabhu, you will read this.
Verse number 20. Prakritim purusham chaiva vidhyanaadi ubhav api vikaramscha gunamschaiva vidhi prakriti sambhavam. Prakriti, material nature, purusham, the living entities, cha, also, eva, certainly, vidhi, you must know, anadi, without beginning, ubhav, both, api, also, vikaram, transformation, cha, also, gunan, the 3 modes of material nature, cha, also, eva, certainly, vidhi, no, prakriti, material nature, sambhavan, produced of. Material nature and the living entities should be understood to be beginningless. The transformation and the modes of matter are products of the material nature. The transformation and the modes of matter are products of material nature. Purport: by the knowledge given in this chapter, no one can understand the body, the field of activities, and the knowers of the body, both the individual soul and the super soul. The body is the field of activity and is composed of material nature. The individual soul that is embodied and enjoying the activities of body is called Purusha, or the living entity. The individual soul that is embodied and enjoying the activities of the body is the Purusha, or the living entity. He is one knower and the other is the super soul. Of course, it is to be understood that both the super soul and the individual living entity are different manifestation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The living entity is in the category of energy, and the super soul is the category of his personal expansion. Both material nature and the living entities are eternal. That is to say that they existed before the creation. The material manifestation is from the energy of the Supreme Lord, and so also are the living entities. But the living entities are of the superior energy. Both living entities and the material nature existed before the cosmos were manifested. Material nature was absorbed in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Mahavishnu, and when it was required, it was manifested by the agency of Mahatattva. Similarly, the living entities are also in him, and because they are conditioned, they are averse to serving the Supreme Lord. Thus, they are not allowed to enter into spiritual sky. But with the coming forth of the material nature, these living entities are again given a chance to act in the material world and prepare themselves to enter into spiritual world. That is the mystery of the this material creation. Actually, the living entity is originally the spiritual part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. but due to his rebellious nature, he is conditioned within the material nature. It really does not matter how these living entities or superior entities of the Supreme Lord have come in contact with the material nature. The Supreme Personality of Godhead knows, however, and why this actually took place. In the scriptures, the Lord says those attracted by this material nature are undergoing a hard struggle for existence. But we should know it with certainty from the description of these few verses that all the transformation and the influence of material nature by the three modes are also production of material nature. All the transformation and variety in respect to living entities are due to the body. As far as spirit is concerned, living entities are all the same.
Okay. Now the questions related to Prakriti and Purusha. So two things are described here. One is Prakriti. Prakriti is the nature. Purusha is the enjoyer or the living entity. Now in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, the introduction, there are 5 things that are spoken in Bhagavad Gita. And what are they? Anybody remembers? Or some of you were not on my class when we were going through that. But it is a known fact. What are the 5 elements that are spoken in Bhagavad Gita in the beginning?
Jivatma,
Jiva,
Paramatma,
Paramatma, Prakriti,
Priti,
Purusha,
Purush,
Kala,
Kala,
Karma.
Karma.
5 items. Prakriti, Purusha, Kala, Karma, Jivatma and Paramatma. 5. Of all these things, all are constant. One is not constant. Which one? Constant means they're eternal. All of them are eternal. One, except one. Which is that?
Karma.
Karma. Because karma can be changed. Karma of a living entity can be changed. It is not eternal. It can deplete, it can increase. If you do good activities, if you do devotional activities, it will nullify all the bad and the good. If you do bad, then it will increase your bad activities. If you do pious activities, it will get your good karma up, which you have to still reap, which you have to go through the life and reap it. You should become a very rich person in the next life and go through the life again. So that's the karma, because it is not constant. Whereas the other 4, which is Jiva, Purusha, which is a super soul, Prakriti, Kala, time, these 4 are constant. So within that constant thing, Prakriti and Purusha are described here. So Prakriti is constant, Purusha, the living. In this case, Krishna is referring to the living entity as Purusha because of Purusha's enjoying mentality. Purusha is there is only one Purusha in the entire universe, Krishna. All of them are Prakriti. In the sense, they are all parts of the Lord. They are all parts of the Supreme Lord. They are all coming under the category of enjoyers. Enjoyed, I mean to say. We are enjoyed. Only enjoyer is the Krishna, who is Purusha. But because the living entity has that male dominance, like it has the enjoying propensity, they are considered as Purusha also. Krishna is considering them as Purusha. Whereas there is only one Purusha, which is the Supreme Purusha, Supreme Lord. Everyone else are enjoyed. They are offering enjoyment to the Lord. They should be in that mood of offering the enjoyment to the Lord, not enjoying themselves. Okay? But because of their nature of propensity to enjoy themselves in this world, Krishna is calling them as Purusha also. So the 2 things are described, Purusha and Prakriti. The Prakriti is that which causes the material nature to move. Right? What is Prakriti? Comprising of the 3 modes of material nature. The Mahat Tattva transformed from Pradhan to Mahat Tattva to 3 modes of material nature. That is your Prakriti. It is there always, but it causes the entire nature to move. It causes things to happen, right? Over a time, things happen, which is what Prakriti is. So it causes, cause and effect happens. There is a cause and there is an effect as part of the Prakriti. The living entities are there from the beginning. And the Prakriti causes the living entity to go through these transformations of happiness, distress, anxiety, all this, that whatever we go through, the 24 elements we discussed in the beginning, right? The Prakriti the Purusha goes through. The Purusha is made of those 24 elements. What are these? Earth, water, fire, air, ether. And the 5 object senses, 5 knowledge acquiring senses, 5 working senses, then sense objects, which are the
Mind.
tanmatra is the sound, touch, and all that, and then your
Mind.
intelligence, and false ego. These are the 24 elements. So the prakriti causes these elements to move, and the living entity undergoes them. He becomes affected by that modes, and he undergoes and goes through various vikaras, transformations. The living entity undergoes various transformations and experiences the various things like happiness, distress, and you have name it, various things. So this is what, and they were eternal from the beginning. So the living entities were never created as per second chapter. They always were there. But when we came into this material world, that is $1 million question. It can be asked, you will get an answer as to don't worry about that. If you ask someone, then they'll say, why you want to worry? When you fell in the water, why you want to know that? Just come out of the water. That is more important, right? You're in the water trying to getting drowned. Now you want to ask, when did I fall? Nobody asks that question. You just want to come out of it. So this is what they will answer. So there are answers. If we have to increase our capacity to understand, we'll get answer. But the living entity always existed, but it came into the contact of the material nature, and we are here. So at the end, we are given a chance. This is what the purport says. We are given a chance to fulfill the goal of this life, to perform devotional service and go back to Godhead. If not, if that is not fulfilled at the end of the life, what happens is they will become unmanifested in the body, in the womb of Mahavishnu. They get submerged into the body of Mahavishnu. They live in that stage called Susupti. Susupti is sleeping. They will not know it's like coma. Nobody knows what happens, or under anesthesia. So the body goes through a lot of pain. They will be inflicted with pains, but body does not experience in the under anesthesia. So that is a state. We are not dead at that stage, but yet we cannot experience. So that's the stage. We don't remember anything that happened. We have no experience of what has happened. We are just in that state. That is a place they will be sent to. One who does not fulfill their goal of performing or perfecting their devotional service. So they'll be residing there, but at the next millennium or the next time Mahavishnu exhales, the material nature again takes form, Pradhan, Mahatattva, all those elements come into being, and the living entities gets created from there into, were placed in the wombs of different mothers. Based on what? Based on the karma that we have accrued so many lifetimes and sitting in that position in the Susupti. And they will be sent to different wombs to reap the benefit, to reap the karma that we have accumulated. Again, you will be given a chance to perfect. We'll go through. If you don't perfect, then again the same repetition. So this is what is happening constantly. Prakriti and Purusha are constantly going through these transformations, vikaras. Yet, why they are called eternal? Because they are eternal. They will be always going through, just like seasons. Season constantly changes, but they are eternal. Eternally they are happening. Now summer. Soon after we'll get winter. They are temporary, but they are constantly happening in cyclic way. Similar to living entities. They are constantly cyclically going through one body to the other. Yet the soul remains constant. The soul is constant. It is spirit. It is never destroyed, as per Krishna, who spoken about this in the beginning verses. The soul is constant, yet it goes through a lot of transformations. Only then that we have to do is to perform devotional service and perfect our life. So this is the 20th verse. I think we are already past the time. We'll pause here. Next 21 to 30. 2 more classes. Okay. We'll go through 2 more. Yeah. Any points? Anything anyone wants to say? What has something that you have connected?
No, I mean, verse number 20, when I read, I just remembered these three, meant one thing. Like we have energies of the Lord, internal Antaranga Shakti, Bahiranga Shakti, and Tathastha Shakti. So, internal energy, we are the Tathastha Shakti, marginal ones, and the external energy is the Prakriti. So, technically speaking, every energy, like internal energy, has power control over other Tathastha and Bahiranga. Tathastha has power over Bahiranga Shakti. But just because we identify ourselves with this body, that's why we lose their power and we come under the control of external energy. So it is just our identification of ourselves as the body loses makes us lose that power. So we have to when we that's why Prabhupada in every class he's just mentioned that we are not this body, we are the spirit soul. Just to revive that or give us that power back. And the devotional service which we perform is going to give us the power back. So that I was just thinking about it.
Yeah. So we have this body. We can't deny it. We have it. We experience it. We go through so much in this body. Experiences all coming in the body. We can't deny it. Yet, so this chapter is that if you can, I think in the last sometime back I was mentioning, this body has been given to us. You use it or you lose it. I mean, again, you repeat it.
Yeah.
Use it properly or repeat it again.
Yeah.
So this is all we have. These 24 elements is what we got. All these various transformations that we have, 24 things that we have been allotted to. We have this. Use them to increase or upgrade our consciousness.
Yeah.
We upgrade our consciousness to become devotees of the Lord and get pulled out of this material nature. That's the goal.
All this knowledge is just to make us realize that we are not this body. We are different from this body. That's what different ways of coming to the same point.
Yeah. Okay. Sneha Mataji, Vanati Mataji, Premvada Mataji, quickly. 38.
Yes, Mataji. Everything explained very nicely about the 6 questions that Arjuna is asking Krishna. What is a body, field, Kshetra, Kshatrajna, Purusha, Prakriti, all that. Yeah.
Okay.
Next time I'll prepare somebody to explain.
Huh. Next, Bharati Mataji.
I'm good, Mataji. Hi.
You might not have a question. Say something that you are connected with.
I don't know. There's a lot. I don't know which one to say, Mataji.
Okay. Next, Sneha Mataji.
Nothing specific, Mataji.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mataji, little bit, please explain about the game. Little bit, I'm like kind of not clear on that, please.
Nyayam is objects of knowledge, or the object of the knowledge. Nyayam is the knower, one that should be known, knowable. Like we are getting that word is coming up, right? Knowable. Knowable is who is the object of the knowledge, who should be known by the knowledge. The knowledge are those elements that were humility, all that we understood, pridelessness, tolerance. Then we have that was Acharya Upasanam, approaching the spiritual master. And then the other important one is
Spiritualness.
what is that point? Mai Chananya Yogena. Having undivided at devotional service. Mai Chananya Yogena. So all these are objects of knowledge. By this, all these are knowledge elements. So by this knowledge, who should be known? That is Gayam. Gayam is object of knowledge. Who should be known? The Jivatma and Paramatma should be known. The objects of knowledge, as explained in the last 13th verse and on, is the objects of the knowledge, which is the Jivatma as well as Paramatma. And we have gone through the qualities of Paramatma in 13 to 18. Qualities of first verse 13 explained about the Jivatma, 14 to 18 Paramatma's qualities. So the Gayam is that which has to be known, which is two, Jivatma and Paramatma. Make sense, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. We'll pause here for the day. Anchakalpatarubhyascha Tupasindapevacha Patkanam Pavanapevasha Vipadima. Anantakuti Varshanandi ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you very much. We'll meet next week.
Thank you, Mataji.
Krishna.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Mataji. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare